My father rose in the Miami-Dade courtroom and aimed his voice at me. "Cold as ice," he said. "Those Key Biscayne houses are ours. She doesn't deserve a single cent." Celeste, my stepmother, nodded with her polished smile. Blaine, my half-brother, a real estate attorney, smirked like the verdict was already signed. Judge Harold Vance opened the thick envelope I'd submitted. He read, paused, then let out a short, metallic laugh. "Well," he said, eyes on them, "so you people truly don't know anything at all." The air tightened. Blaine's smirk fell apart. Celeste's nails dug into the rail. My father's jaw clenched. "I'm Avery Holt. I used to fly Coast Guard rescue helicopters. Now I run a luxury yacht charter out of Miami." In that courtroom, with that laugh ringing, I finally tasted oxygen after months of my own family trying to choke me. But the laugh wasn't the beginning. It was the moment the lies started dying in public. The beginning was my phone vibrating like a warning flare. The sun was low and orange over the water. I was steering an 80-foot Sunseeker toward Biscayne Bay when I ignored the first calls. On the 5th, I stepped inside, already cold. "Jackson Memorial Hospital," a doctor said. "Miss Holt, I'm sorry. Your grandmother, Odette Holt, had a massive stroke this morning. She didn't make it." I cut the charter short and ran south like speed could change time. 4 hours later, salt stiff on my skin, I tied up at our private dock. The villa sat dark behind floodlit palms. The funeral was already over, and on the terrace my father turned, as if he'd been waiting for me to arrive too late. Grant didn't hug me. He lifted his glass like we were at a benefit. Celeste air-kissed my cheeks. "The funeral," I said. "You buried her without me." "You're always offshore," Grant replied. "We didn't want to drag you off a charter." Celeste's voice went sweet. "Everything's taken care of, Avery. The will, the properties, the paperwork. Go back to your boats." "Taken care of?" "Not she wanted. Not I'm sorry. I walked the villa anyway." Odette's gardenias lingered, but bleach rode beneath them. My flight photos still hung in the hallway. The fridge held new magnets, South Beach clubs, cosmetic clinics. Blaine arrived in a suit that cost more than my first car. "Rough day, sis," he said, then, casual as ordering coffee, "Grandma signed a durable power of attorney. Keeps the 5 houses safe." "Show me." "Filed downtown." He smiled. "Trust me. Legal is what I do." At sunrise, I drove to the Harbor Key Mansion. The gate opened before I touched the intercom. Inside, they waited with a manila folder on the coffee table. Blaine slid a notarized page toward me. Odette's signature looked perfect. Too perfect. "February 14th, he said. I raised my phone and photographed every inch he exposed. Grant stood. "Don't make this ugly." 2 security guards appeared. One stepped between me and the folder. "Ma'am, time to leave." On the ferry back, I zoomed until the ink broke into pixels. No tremor, no uneven pressure, a steady hand that wasn't hers. I drove to Odette's 5th house, found her brass key under the planter, and let myself into the dark that still smelled like cedar. 3 soft knocks came from the side door. On the threshold stood Cal Dempsey, Odette's tenant next door. He held a tiny plastic bag with a black USB drive. "She made me swear," he said. "Only you." "When did she give it to you?" 3 months ago. She was scared." He glanced into the palms and slipped away. I locked up, sat on the terrazzo, and opened my laptop. 1 file. No name. I clicked. Odette's voice filled the room, thin, furious. "Avery, my girl, after May I signed nothing." Blaine scanned my checks. Celeste watched him. "I changed my will with attorney Marina Reyes in Brickell. Fight." When it ended, my tears dried. I backed up the audio, hid the drive inside the dining table leg, and drove to Brickell. Marina listened once, then pushed a folder across her desk. "Blaine prepared the February power of attorney," she said. "Forensics says the signature is digitally traced. Here's Odette's real trust, executed 3 weeks before her stroke. You're the sole beneficiary." She slid 1 more page forward. "I filed an emergency freeze. They can't sell, borrow against, or move a dime." 2 days later, we stood before Judge Harold Vance. Grant called me ungrateful. Celeste cried on cue. Blaine wore his courtroom grin. I handed Vance the envelope. The recording, the forensic report, Cal's affidavit, and Odette's real signature, shaky and human. He read. He stopped. Then came that metallic laugh. His ruling followed, voiding the fraud, restoring every property to me, and sending the record to prosecutors. Outside, Grant wouldn't meet my eyes. Celeste's smile cracked. Blaine looked smaller than his suit. For the first time since that hospital call, my lungs opened fully. I walked into the sun and breathed, not forgiven, free.